Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/TrueOffMyChest, where karma gave OP a wonderful present. Let's begin. We reversed Gazum to a greedy landlord, and it was glorious. Posted by Reddit user Fibean.
This happened 15 years ago, and it is one of the proudest moments of my life. My best friend and her husband have 5 kids together. They lived in an expensive city and rented an old 4-bedroom house for $400 per week. The house was very rundown with a disgusting kitchen and stink drains, but it was all they could afford at the time. Still, they made it work. The owner was a nice old lady who was extremely wealthy and very fond of my friend. She froze the rent for 5 years and promised to let them buy the house once they had saved enough to get a loan from the bank. As she had helped other people in a similar way, they knew they could trust her, and so they saved every cent they could. It took them 5 years, but they finally told her they were ready. 2 days later, the nice old lady passed away before anything was put in writing. Enter the new owners. The lady's 4 children, each extremely wealthy in their own right. They inherited a huge portfolio of properties. When they first spoke to my friends, they assured them that the sale would still go through, but they would have to wait until probate had settled. Confident, my friends started making some changes to the place. They started by stripping wallpaper, painting, and making plans. Finally, probate was settled, and the owners agreed to go ahead with the sale for the previously agreed price. My friends applied for the loan, but to their shock, it was refused. The owners had raised the asking price by $80,000 without telling my friends. To make things even worse, the house would be put on the open market. In 7 days, there would be an open house, and with the market the way it would probably sell immediately. My friends were devastated. They might be able to borrow enough, but it would take longer than a week to get. To make matters worse, property prices has soared recently, and rents had gone up a lot, whilst theirs had been frozen. Not only were my friends going to struggle to get the money, if the place was sold to someone else and they were asked for a higher rent or were evicted, it would be nearly impossible to find an affordable place with more than 2 bedrooms. I was scared for my friends, but I was also incandescently angry. Those greedy sods were some of the wealthiest people in the city. They were screwing over a struggling family for less than $20,000 each. They didn't need the money. It is pure greed, and it was obvious that they'd always planned to do this. So while my friends scrambled to come up with the money, I started plotting. I looked up advice on what helps to make a sale. We needed to make the place as undesirable as possible without making my friends look like bad tenants. Uncluttered, we moved all the furniture in from the walls, added some extra furniture and borrowed ornaments, and hung a load of motorcycle memorabilia on the walls. The place felt smaller. Smell. My friend boiled a head of cabbage on the stove, and we sprayed ammonia around the front and back doors, because it smells like all the neighborhood cats had been marking their territory. We also poured 2 dozen rotten eggs down the drain to make it smell like sewer gas. Neighborhood. We obtained a moldy old couch and dumped in front yard of the neighbor across the road, with permission, of course. Neighborhood 2. We started calling friends for help. Anybody with a loud and crappy car was asked to do a few laps in front of the block during the open day. The street was unusually busy that day. Everyone we knew found a reason to drive by. It was practically rush hour. Neighborhood 3, we called out mates from the rugby club, full contact football without any of that soft padding. A big portion of our club are very large men. The next door neighbor set up a barbecue in their front yard, and we offered free food and cheap beer. They came on motorcycles, wearing their roughest gear. There was quite a crowd. A lot of people showed up for the open day. Quite a few were in and out within minutes. One lady sat in her car and watched the party next door before driving away. The one bloke who stayed any length time was brave enough to start up a conversation with someone leaving the party. He asked if they were often there and was told every couple of weeks or so they have an after-party morning, and the party the night before was 3 doors up. The partygoer also helpfully mentioned the troublesome drains that are always getting blocked by tree roots and stinking up the place. The potential buyer left without making an offer, so my friends were the only ones to make an offer. They still had to pay more than they'd planned, but not as much as the greedy bastards wanted. My friends signed the papers and paid the deposit that day. So when the brave buyer put in an offer of $30,000 more than my friends, there was nothing the owners could do about it. Strict anti-gazumping laws. I would have loved to see the owners' faces when they found out. For all the people who are saying they had cheap rent, they didn't. $400 was the rent in 2004, and that was pretty high back then. By the time the lady died, average rent for a house that size had only gone up by about $40. Nowadays, 4-bedroom houses in that area go for approximately $800 per week.
Okay, so first of all, I had to Google what gazumping means so I could properly understand the context of this story, and I will flash that meaning on your screen right now. So anyways, OP, I think the entire world would benefit with more friends like you. The effort that you went through is really heartwarming. Absolutely brilliant. I hope they treated you to some beer. And now for today's second story. My wife passed away, and it was the best Christmas present I could have received. Posted by Reddit user Training Noise.
At the beginning of 2022, I caught my wife having an affair with one of her exes. Our marriage wasn't perfect. I was not the perfect husband, I will admit. But I did my best. I put effort into the entire 5 years we were together. I put my all into the relationship. Her, I could not say the same. I was forced to confront the reality of who she truly was shortly after I caught her. She illegally evicted me from our shared home, lied to the police to try and get me arrested, tried to get me fired from my job, and tried to turn all of my friends against me. Some of these succeeded, while others did not. She has made my life a living hell since the day I asked her for the divorce, and has planted her heels into the ground over our separation to try and drain all my finances and emotional strength from me. The only upside is we had no kids for her to use as weapons. But I soon found out that her policy of strict birth control with me did not extend to her suitor, as he got her pregnant 5 months ago. I thought maybe this would help speed along the divorce, but it only rallied her in her efforts to destroy me. On Christmas Eve, my wife and her suitor went to a party where both of them got drunk. I find this fact terrible, as all her friends knew she was pregnant as well. Her suitor drove them home, a mistake that would cost them both their lives. In the state I live in, our divorce is now considered to never have even started. I will be able to claim her life insurance policy for myself and move back into my home. Her parents called me up distraught yesterday, acting as if the last year had never happened, and offered their full support to my funeral preparations for her. My confusion here was beyond belief, but the apple does not fall far from the tree when it comes to my wife. I told them if they want a funeral, it was coming out of their pockets. I will pay for her to be cremated and deliver her ashes to them in the cheapest urn offered if they desire. They called me horrible and tried to guilt me about her life insurance, but after only 4 minutes on the phone with them, I hung up and blocked every one of her family's numbers. I'm going to be taking a few extra days off work to move back into my house over the next week. I've already made arrangements to have her stuff hauled off, so my home will be an empty canvas to start my life anew. I don't know if there is a God or if this was just karma, but I truly believe now that I have come out on the other side of the storm. Judge me how you will. I will not argue with how my actions influence others' opinions about me. I just know that if the situation was reversed, my wife would be shopping around for a sports car with the life insurance money she collected on me. You're right. I don't like them, but they do deserve her things if they want them. I'll unblock her mom and offer to make arrangements to deliver her stuff wherever she wants. If she wants it all, or only certain things, I'll eat the cost and deliver it to her. I'm already paying to have it hauled and trashed, so no point in caring where it goes. I cut those people out of my life when they turned on me due to false accusations that I had video evidence to prove wrong. If her lies being exposed in 4K are not enough to convince them, they are nothing more than anchors to be released in the sea. I will be installing cameras at the house tomorrow. The locks have already been repinned. My divorce lawyer has already given me recommendations, and I am meeting with an attorney on Wednesday. Short update. I have decided to elaborate on a few common threads I see in this post here, as responding to all the comments would be too much. Firstly, some are judging me for the way I am reacting to the passing of 3 people. You're right, it is not normal, nor is it healthy. I feel no emotions toward my ex at this moment. All my hatred, resentment, and regret evaporated when I learned of her returning to the shadow realm. I feel nothing but relief right now. This void has slowly consumed me over the past few days. I feel numb, like I'm dreaming, like what happened is not real. This woman made my life a living hell for over a year. She set out to destroy me and would not stop until she did. I do not like the fact that I feel this way over the passing of 3 people, but that is not a box I feel ready to unpack at this moment. Secondly, I have reached out to my ex's mom today, and things are much more civil as of now. I'll pay the hauling company to move her stuff into one of their storage units, and they can figure out the rest. Her mother revealed to me that they cannot afford to host a funeral for my ex. I am 100% the legal beneficiary of her life insurance. Despite my past hatred for her family, I told her mother I will give them a small amount from her life insurance so they can have a service and arrange burial logistics for her. This is contingent on us cutting ties after, and I will not be involved any further in her funeral. I will still be talking to a lawyer. Lastly, I'm not going to elaborate any further, except the only lives lost was hers, her suitor, and their unborn child. Some are saying I should sell the house. Right now, I only want to return to my home. The details of where I end up, either there or somewhere over the rainbow, are yet to be determined. I do not know what life holds for me or for any of us. This event happened, maybe for a reason, or maybe the universe has no logic at all. This gift put an end to a period of my life that sent me to the brink of destruction. It's morbid to think that the passing of 3 people was what pulled me to the other side alive. It's interesting how quick it can all change or end.
OP, there is nothing wrong with feeling the way that you feel, that you don't have to be sad that someone has died. If someone is making your life miserable, if someone was actively trying to destroy your life, you are allowed to be relieved when they can't do that anymore. Look, man, a lot has happened to you in a relatively short amount of time. You better start going to therapy. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.